Hey everyone, I wanted to go ahead and give my quick predictions for the next upcoming Nintendo Direct for summer of 2022. Essentially what would have typically been their E3 Nintendo Direct, but of course we're not having E3 anymore apparently, so we're just gonna have just a traditional Nintendo Direct that just happens to take place in the summer where E3 used to be. And getting right into it, we're not going to waste a lot of time on this one. I do want to go over, of course, just the games that Nintendo is going to obligatory have to mention because these are just major titles that are set to release, at the very least, scheduled to release this year. Of course, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes is the most recent upcoming title. I believe it's going to set to launch at the end of the month. And they have been doing a pretty decent job showcasing just all the three houses, all the characters, a little bit of each one of them playing a little bit, and they need to give us more about the story and just places you're going to visit. But other than that, Fire Emblem Warriors is ready to go. When it comes to other games that are not necessarily Nintendo, Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope is still another game that we have not heard anything about. Now, as of the time of me recording this, we don't have any confirmation on Ubisoft having a presentation at all. So presumably if Nintendo is having one, they're most likely going to finally showcase this game. I will say this, and for the upcoming game as well that I'm going to mention, if Mario vs. Rabbids Sparks of Hope does not necessarily get a release date on this presentation, then we should not necessarily expect this game dropping anytime soon, or is most likely going to get pulled for next year. I think that's just going to happen. The same thing can be said for Bayonetta 3. I think that at this point in time, if they do not showcase a release date, this is going to be a 2023 game. Not that Nintendo really necessarily needs this game to launch this year. We're going to go over many reasons as to why that is. But if they don't give us a release date, I think Bayonetta 3 is just simply not going to happen this year. I do also believe that they're going to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which is launching, I believe, in July, at the end of July. That's another one of their big tentpole titles for the summer. And of course, Splatoon 3 as well, which I believe is launching in September. That game is going to be massive. A lot of people are very excited for Splatoon 3, so they certainly are going to just showcase more new maps, more new weapons, all that kind of stuff. I think with Xenoblade, they've shown quite a lot already. They've done a pretty decent job on Twitter showcasing a lot of details, but for Splatoon they kind of need to show a little bit more to get people really invested in it, and of course confirm that Splatfest are really going to make a comeback and they're going to be a little bit different than before. Okay, now transitioning over to actual game reveals, simply put, games that have not been known for before. I want to start out with Resident Evil Revelations 3. This is a game that has been rumored over and over again for the past almost 2 years now. Now, originally, one of the leakers and one of the trusted leakers, and this is the reason why I'm even mentioning this game to begin with, made it very clear that this was supposed to be a Nintendo Switch, not exclusive relatively speaking, but like focused for the Nintendo Switch. So while it may end up launching on PlayStation 4, 5, and of course Xbox, Steam, and PC, this is going to be a game tailored specifically for the Nintendo Switch. You're not going to be looking at Resident Evil Village level of visuals or anything along those lines. Mechanics are going to be a little bit dialed back and it's going to focus more on the atmosphere. That's based on the information that we've gotten. But so far, we have no more details other than Capcom confirming that they're going to have a massive fiscal year for 2022. Now, of course, they also are launching Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which is, of course, if you watch my channel, you know that I talk about that game quite a bit. That is going to be a massive moneymaker for Capcom. And they have a couple other things launching as well. I'm not going to say the Darkstalker remasters are really going to put them over the top when it comes to money. But if Resident Evil Revelation 3 is set to launch this year, we are certainly going to be able to see it finally during this presentation. Now, another game you might have not actually known much about is Atelier Ryza 3. We do know that Gus has confirmed through Koei Tecmo that the game is already currently in development. It has been in development now almost 2 years since Atelier Ryza 2 launched, I believe, early 2020, I want to say, if I'm remembering that correctly. So, or 2021. So it's been almost 2 years since that game launched. It did pretty good, not as well as Atelier Ryza 1, which was easily the best-selling Atelier game in the franchise. But ultimately, I think Atelier Ryza 3 is ready to be shown. You have to remember that Atelier Ryza 2, the first time that we actually heard about this game was during a Nintendo Direct in Japan. It wasn't even actually shown in the Western Direct at all. It was actually shown in Japan. So presumably this time around that they know that Ryza is extremely popular, and all you have to do is Google Atelier Ryza merchandising on like Google, and you should be able to see just how popular she actually is. Then you should be able to know that this game is most likely going to get revealed, because it's going to set to launch in the spring of next year. Gust loves to release their games either February or March early in the year, so this is one that I believe is almost a no-brainer to finally being showcased. Last Direct predictions that I did in February for the March Direct, I spoke about a Tales of Arise from Bandai Namco finally making its way to the Nintendo Switch, and it's been 3 months and nothing's happened. And I keep hearing that this game is actually in production, being ported through the internal Bandai Namco team for the Nintendo Switch, but we simply just have not seen it. And I'm hoping that actually changes this time around, and we do have confirmation that it finally is going to be revealed for the Nintendo Switch. Now, Tales of Arise at this point now has sold almost 2 million copies on both PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So it's not like Bandai is hurting for sales or anything like that. It's just that this game was designed already from the get-go to have lower-end visuals and eventually make its way to the Nintendo Switch retroactively, just like Kakarot, Dragon Ball Kakarot did as well, and many other Bandai Namco titles. Now, another game that we know is also under development as well, but we simply have not heard anything about yet, and we haven't even necessarily seen it, is Daemon X Machina 2. We know through the developer and one of the publishers specifically that they mentioned specifically that they were already working on this game, I want to say as early as September of last year. So they've had maybe about a little bit under a year to already have some sort of vague idea as to what this game is going to be shaping up to be. I don't know if it's far enough for them to actually go ahead and feel comfortable enough to showcase something about it, but we do know that this game is already under production in one way or another, so it's really going to be up to Marvelous if they really want to showcase the game. Maybe this early on in the process of development is really going to be their call, but I do think at the end of the day, having just a quick teaser trailer in a big, summer event on the Nintendo Direct is really going to go a long way to remind people that Daemon X Machina 1 is really good, and just a lot of people overlooked it because of just the demo wasn't polished, and that was the entire point of the demo, to polish the game up. So I think a lot of people just kind of misconstrued it that the demo was mediocre, therefore the game would be mediocre, and that was not the case. I really quite enjoyed Daemon X Machina 1. Now, Yokai Watch 4 is a game that you probably kind of completely forgot all about, and is a game that also already launched in Japan back in 2019. It's been a long time since this game came out, but guess what? The game actually never made it out into the West at all. It never got localized. There's no English version of this game. Now, Level 5 at the time, 2019, 2020, and even 2021, they were really struggling for cash. In 2019, when they released Yokai Watch 4 on the Nintendo Switch, it was an exclusive in Japan. 6 months later, they released Yokai Watch 4 Plus. This was like an enhanced version with more yokais and stuff like that. And it launched on the PlayStation 4. Turns out, no one bought it on PlayStation 4 because no one gave a damn on like PS4 at all. PlayStation fans do not care for Yokai Watch at all. So the game just simply kind of died off. They've never made even like a mobile game or anything since then. Now, Level 5 had been struggling fiscally for quite a while until most recently with the Ni no Kuni mobile game. And now they are making bank with that game. Now, there are some shady things that they are doing that's not really something I'm going to get into in this video, but they do have a pretty decent influx of cash to be able to do something with Yokai Watch 4 finally getting localized. If they couldn't afford it before, they have no reasons not to be able to do it now. Now, moving over to actual first-party Nintendo games, there's 2 games that I do think are going to finally get revealed. First and foremost, I do want to speak about Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Now, this is a franchise that we have not seen entries for a very, very long time. I want to say 2016. There's been, I think, 6 games in this franchise in the series. And the reason why I'm saying that we'll finally get another entry for this game is very simple. Every single year in the Nintendo Switch era, Nintendo will drop 3 to 4 Mario-focused games one way or another. In 2017, we got Mario Sports Superstars on the 3DS. We got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We got Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And of course, we got Super Mario Odyssey. And on top of that, they got even Mario Party Top 100 on the 3DS, back when they were still releasing 3DS games. On 2018, we got Mario Tennis Aces, we got Super Mario Party, and of course, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as well. In 2019, we got Super Mario Maker 2, Mario Kart Tour, and Dr. Mario World on mobile, and of course, Mario and Sonic at the Olympics Tokyo 2020. Not to mention new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe at the beginning of 2019 as well. So that's 3 major titles as well. In 2020, we ended up getting Paper Mario the Origami King, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, Super Mario 35, and of course even the Game & Watch for Mario Brothers as well. And just last year for 2021, we got Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Mario Golf Super Rush, and Mario Party Superstar. So that's 3 major Mario focused games a little bit. For 2022, there's only 2 games that we know of that are Mario related. Mario Strikers Battle League, which I do think is a pretty good game after all. And of course, we're still pending that Ubisoft is going to actually release Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. So that's it. Those are the only 2 Mario games that we know of for 2022. And like I mentioned before, every single year, Nintendo has 3 to 4 Mario games. So I think we're not going to get some sort of like Odyssey 2 or anything like that. That's too big. They're going to save that for the next Switch. Kind of like Mario Kart as well. They're just going to save that for that. But I do think something smaller like Mario vs. Donkey Kong is due. That franchise is pretty decent, and it's long overdue that we actually get a brand new entry. Now, the final game that I want to talk about is, of course, Breath of the Wild 2. No, actually, I'm not going to talk about that because they're not going to showcase Breath of the Wild 2. I don't think they're actually even going to talk about Zelda at all because the game ended up getting delayed. Now, in my previous presentation, predictions video back in February, I spoke about how I believed 100% that Breath of the Wild 2 was going to be their big E3 event. It was going to be their big presentation game for the summer. But the game ended up getting delayed afterwards. So I don't think they're actually going to talk about it now because they have no actual obligation to do so. Now, that doesn't mean that they wouldn't necessarily show a trailer for it, but I don't even expect them to do that much. I think their big twist and their big turnaround is actually going to be showcasing Metroid Prime 4. They're actually going to showcase a big reveal, finally, actual trailer, actual CGI, maybe even a couple of gameplay clips here and there of what this game looks like. Remember, this game has now been in production 3 full years since it started like being redone from the ground up. So Retro has no real excuse anymore. We have a real reason as to expecting this game to show up, and Nintendo really should actually put this game out there, just making sure that it's actually being made, because just the continual nonsense of like Metroid Prime 4, kind of like it's being canceled, this under, the developers are under stress, there's just really nothing out there, they're struggling to make it. There's a lot of really negative nonsense being posted out there from other content creators, and at the end of the day, I think it would be beneficial for Nintendo to just say, hey, the game is coming, this is some of it, and you can see it yourself. And that would go a long way to just kind of quell down those nonsense claims from people who basically don't know anything. But that's about all my predictions that I have for this upcoming summer Nintendo Direct. If you are brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.